Hello students, today we are going to do Act 1, Scene 2. The scene shifts from Venice to Belmont, where Portia lives. Portia experiences her apprehensions about her future to her maid Nerissa, as she is bound to marry a man who chooses the right casket out of the three in which her picture is placed, a lottery of caskets designed by her late father. She does not like any of the suitors who have come to try their luck. She ridicules all of them. When Nerissa reminds her of Bassanio, she becomes cheerful and hints at her secret liking for him. Thus, the scene initiates the cascade story, an important part of the play. This scene is important as our protagonist of the play, Portia, is introduced to us in this scene. Belmont, a room in Portia's house. Enter Portia and Nerissa. Portia, by my troth, Nerissa, my little body is aweary of this great world. By my troth means honestly, aweary means tired. So Portia is trying to say, honestly, my little body is tired of the great world. Means she is not happy with the world. Children, do you remember in the last scene, that is scene 1, also Antonio felt the same, but we still do not know the reason of his sadness. So this scene also begins on the same note. Even Portia is feeling sad, and the same word aweary has been used by Antonio in scene 1. To this, Nerissa says, "You mean would be sweet madam. That means you would be so dear lady, if your miseries were in the same abundance as your good fortunes are." Nerissa says if your miseries were as plentiful as good fortune means how many miseries you have, the same amount of good fortune you have, then you should have felt tired. And yet, for aught I see, they are as sick that surfeit with too much as they that starve with nothing. Yet she observes the people who are overfed with too much suffer the same as people who starve. It is no mean happiness, therefore, to be seated in the mean. No mean means poor. So she means there is no happiness to be placed in between, neither starving, neither overeating. Superfluity comes sooner by white hairs, but competency lives longer. Means those who have too much of anything that is superfluity will grow old sooner. Competency lives longer means those who have just enough to survive, that is competency lives longer. Good sentences and well pronounced. Portia praises Nerissa and says well pronounced means well spoken. Nerissa answers they would be better if well followed. That means it would be better if they are obeyed. To this Portia says, if to do were as easy as to know what were good to do, chapels had been churches and poor men's cottages, princes' palaces. This speech of Portia is very important. She says, we all actually know what is good for us, but do we do it? No. If doing good deeds were as easy as knowing how to do them, she says. Chapels had been churches and poor men's cottages, princes' palaces. Then chapels, which are there in institutions like in a school, would become churches and poor men's cottages would become palaces. It is a good divine that follows his own instructions. I can easier teach 20 what were good to be done than be one of the 20 to follow my own teaching. Here she says he is a good priest who follows his own instructions. Teaching 20 students is much more easier than what to do than follow what I have taught to them. She says it's much easier teaching them what is to be done than you yourself following what you have taught to others. The brain may devise laws for the blood, but a hot temper leaves over a cold dickery. The mind may draw up laws for oneself to follow, but the heat of desire overleaps means jumps over the laws. That is, the heat of desire disobeys such cold laws. Such a hair is madness, the youth, to skip over the meshes of good counsel, the cripple. That means the spirit of the youth are like a hare that easily leaps, that is, skip over the nets. Meshes are nets of limping, that means cripple. Good advice over the good advice. Meshes means nets and counsel means good advice. So these young people are compared to hare which run fast. So these young people will run away when some good advice is given to them. Okay. But this reasoning is not in the fashion to choose me a husband. Here Portia says, but this reasoning is not given by me to choose a husband. Oh me, the word choose. The moment she says choose, she feels sad as she cannot choose her own husband. I may neither choose whom I would nor refuse whom I dislike. She laments as if she likes someone she cannot choose, and if she dislikes someone she cannot refuse. So is the will of a living daughter curbed by the will of a dead father. Is it not hard, Nerissa, that I cannot choose one nor refuse none? Here she means, so her will of choosing a husband has been curbed, means stopped, by the desires of her dead father. She says it is not difficult that she cannot choose nor refuse to any of her suitors. Nerissa, your father was ever virtuous, and holy men at their death have good inspirations. Nerissa says your father was a man having high moral standards, and holy men, when they are dying, give it good inspirations, that means guidance. Therefore, the lottery that he had devised in these 3 chests of gold, silver, and lead, whereof who chooses his meaning chooses you, will no doubt never be chosen by any rightly but one who shall rightly love. So therefore the trial of cascades that Portia's father had planned, that is, the 3 cascade gold, silver, and lead, would discover the true lover by the way how he interprets the inscriptions given purposely to choose the right match for Portia. But what warmth is there in your affection towards any of these princely suitors that are already come? Now here she means, so Nerissa is asking, what is your feeling towards these suitors who have already come? Now Portia says, I pray thee overname them, and as thou namest them I will describe them, and according to any description level at my affection. Now Portia says, name them one by one, and as you name them I will give you my opinion about each of them, and then you can understand my affection according to that. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel for the latest updates and like the video if you have understood.